Commence primary ignition.
Hi, I'm Angus McGinnis. I play John Dutch Van Gold Leader. I want to welcome you to the virtual Cantina Network.
And Godspeed, Gold Leader. Thank you very much for your service to the Republic and to the Rebels. We do greatly appreciate that. But ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another week of the Virtual Cantina Watch Along. We're very excited because we are on the countdown to Andor Season 2, which debuts the week after Star Wars Celebration Japan, which is going to be very, very exciting. But with that as well, right and chewy today is Dave. How are you, sir?
Hello there.
So
doing very well.
Excellent. So I want to welcome our guest tonight, who's the first time on our show at the Virtual Cantina Network, but also you might have saw him at Scum and Villainy and his lovely singing voice with Gerald Prescott. So they did a nice perennial duet, if you will.
Loved it, yes.
Give a good hello there to Warren Proulx. Warren, how are you, sir?
Hi, how are you? Hello there. It's great to see you.
Yes.
I'm sorry. Just in the middle of looking for something.
No.
So good to be here. I got the plaid right. I got the hat right. I'm ready.
I think very well. And I like your hat as well, sir. Is that like an official crew hat there?
Oh, everyone on the crew got the hat. Yeah. It was Ewan gave this hat to everybody on the crew.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So once again, we're going to be here with Warren, we're going to be watching episode 7 of Andor. So please make sure you have that all queued up. And obviously we'll be talking with Warren about his career, what things he's worked on, his life in the wars, if you will, his different tours of the wars, because there's been many tours. And Dave, if you want to ask a question, if someone wants to ask a question, Warren, how would they do that?
Well, we are on all the socials this evening, and you can always check us out through all of that. You can go ahead and post your question over on the YouTube. You can post it on Facebook, and it all comes into our little thing right here. I've even got my Instagram window over there, so I'm watching that. But really, if you want to make sure that your name comes up and you get credit for your quotes, right down there at the bottom, visit StreamYard.com/Facebook to connect your Facebook account. And even if you've done it before, sometimes you have to do it again. So you don't just come in as an anonymous user, so we know you are you.
Absolutely.
So that's it.
So let's jump right into the thick of things. Warren, what was your introduction to Star Wars?
My introduction to Star Wars was the original trilogy. I'm not sure I remember being like seeing it in the theater. Like I might have been young enough that I don't necessarily remember seeing it in the theater, but I definitely remember having all the action figures and all of the some I bring to set still. Also, seeing it again on VCRs or whatever they had back then.
Do you remember who your first Star Wars action figure was?
That's a great question. Oh man. That's a great question. I wanna say it was the Tusken Raider, or the Sand People is what it was called back then. but it wasn't Han Solo. But I definitely have him someplace. I could
Yep.
probably find him.
That would be my first right there.
I want to say it was one. It was some. It might have even been like C-3PO or R2-D2 or something like that. It might have been like a the robots or something. I don't know. They were very. I remember that I had a Greedo, and I safely tucked him underneath the seat of my bike as I biked to my kindergarten best friend's house. And when I got there, Greedo was gone. So I still don't know where he is.
Oh no!
Yeah,
He's out there somewhere. I don't know.
The bike shot first.
It sure did. At least in this version.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a special edition.
It's the
It's
extra
like-
special.
Extra special edition. Like it's like double secret probation, but it's edition. Yes.
Exactly.
indeed.
So,
Little house. Why not?
did you always want to be an actor? Like, what was your
Absolutely. I mean that's the easiest answer. I mean, I didn't went all bass backwards about it, but yeah, no, I've always loved entertaining and just playing pretend. And so I mean, in fact, you know what? It's March, what is it? March 6th?
Yes.
A few days ago was the first day of my first day on camera tests for Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Nice.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so that was the first day that I showed up, and I'm like, oh, I'm doing this. This is very cool. And when I would stare up at Demetrius with the Darth Vader mask on, and so I mean, it took me 40 years, but I ended up doing that. But yes, I've always wanted to.
So let me ask you this, because as a fellow, I think in a profession that people know is important and like that profession and think, oh yeah, that's cool. I'm a school teacher. Did your family and friends encourage or discourage you from acting all along your entire life? like with love and respect. This is what's best for you.
I was always encouraged, but I also went a safe route for a while, and got the degrees and did the work and got married and did all this other stuff, but something just still wasn't quite there. I don't know. I mean, starting from the 90s, I mean, the 90s, 96 or so, I think is when I joined the Screen Actors Guild.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So there was a whole decade or so where I was out of it.
So that was like around the time like you were just about getting out of college. Obviously, we have mutual friends that went to college with you that I went to high school with. So it was roughly around that time. I know. Yeah.
It was right after that. Yep.
Wow. So what people really don't know about Warren, which actually is one of his claims to fame that our actual mutual friend sent me a clip of today, but I already knew about it, is that Warren was one of the opening credit dancers in the scene in The Wedding Singer.
That's true. That is true. Back in 90, whatever that was, 98 or whenever. That is true.
What was that gig like? Because that looked like that scene was a lot. I mean, a lot of dancing, obviously, but a lot of fun. Upbeat.
It was really fun. You go to the fitting for the wonderful 80s gray tuxedo with the teal bow tie and all that, and it was really fun because it was basically a week in this one hotel, I can't remember which one it was. One of the old ones downtown in LA, where they turned the ballroom into the first wedding. And I mean, it was a week of listening to You Spin Me Right Round. And it was fun. No, it was great. It was great. Adam would come up and introduce himself. Hi, I'm Adam. Like, oh, you're Adam. Yeah, okay. You're the guy that put this whole thing. This is just when he was starting to
Right.
make all his movies. Because personally, this is, I think, his best one. But I mean, that could just be because I had a hand in it. So it was a week of listening to that, and then, but I remember distinctly, because I remember this distinctly. We wrapped it on Friday night, whatever. I get in my car, I turn on the radio, and it was set to whatever station, whatever. And it was a Friday night, so it was the Friday night 80s, okay. And it was a long day. It was the end of the night. And okay, and now your number one 80s song of the night, You Spin Me Right Round. And yes, I did that. I was like, and I couldn't listen to it for a while, but no, I enjoy it now. But
it's like you're being rickrolled without listening to
seriously.
Okay, Spencer, when this comes up, you gotta let me know. It could have been, and let's roll the clip.
Oh. I can't wait.
Yeah, so we talked about that. We talked about, obviously when your first love of the wars. What was your first gig in Star Wars?
I believe I was a shore trooper that Bill Burr stepped over on his way out with Mando in that episode.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that was probably it was a shore trooper. I remember being fit for a shore trooper, but that was the only time I was that shore trooper.
So a question we ask everybody who's joined in, that's been involved, obviously, in the Filoniverse. Did you know that you were going to be in Star Wars when you took the gig?
Okay. My first exposure was to get was to go to a fitting or an interview in a fitting.
Right.
So they'd have to, check you out. I don't know how to log. I'm trying to log into this Disney Plus. And they don't tell you what it is. They call it something else. They make up a name so that nobody knows what it is. And so a bunch of us show up for this fitting, and half the people there are like, "Oh man, I Googled, whatever the fake name was, and I learned all about how to do that, and dicing." And it's like, but that's not what that is. That's just a code name. Then you find out what it is, and you're like, "Oh, wait a minute. So you want me to fit into a stormtrooper uniform?" And then by that point, you're like, "Okay. I mean, I know where I am now, but before that, they're looking." Luckily, I didn't have giant arms, so I could fit inside the armor very well. So that's really why I never worked out, is I knew someday it would come in handy.
That's
Yes,
absolutely.
we have to fit inside of plastic armor. Yes.
Yeah.
Go.
Yeah, I knew that. As a kid, I knew I was shoving my arms into all kinds of plastic, and I'm like, I know I can do this. I don't know.
What
Maybe
was next to you for after that Mando episode?
Well, what's funny is that Mando episode, I actually think I played 4 different parts in that episode. Wow. And so the week I was there, it was like, oh, I was this guy, and then I was, then I was one of the shied up pirates that was attacking the Juggernaut. Although I had a spear, everyone else had these freaking bombs. I had a spear. I don't know what I was doing with the spear, so I did that, and I'm like, and then after that, the Juggernaut comes into the base, And I'm one of those multitude of stormtroopers meandering about, congratulating him. And then, of course, I get to work on putting the force cuffs on Grogu.
Ah,
Yeah, he's the guy. He's
you're the guy. It's like we might be the bad guys if we have baby handcuffs.
That's exactly what I said. I'm like, Moff, did you just? We have baby? Are we the bad guys? I don't know. It was
next to David Sedaris and Adam Pally for punching the baby. You were the one who actually abused the baby the most.
That, as far as I know, is true. I know the first take, I went in there and I was getting physical, and then they said, please don't touch the child or whatever. I mean, touch a child sounds weird now, so please don't touch, because it wasn't Grogu then. I mean,
Yes.
Anyway, we can edit that part out, right?
No, don't worry about
it. That's going to be on the highlight reel tomorrow. Scoop.
Yes.
Mark it right there.
So, what do you think? What do you think of the child when you first saw him for the first time?
Oh my God! It was amazing. I mean, my job was Dimitri would stun him, and then I would walk over and I would put the cuffs on him. The first time, I don't even know if the camera was on the thing. I don't even know where the camera was at that point, but I reach over and I look down, because you can't really see a whole lot in those uniforms, but I could see this thing, and his eyes were closed, but he was kind of like moving around, and I'm like, this thing is really alive. And I thought that was the coolest thing. And then they said, don't touch the doll, please. But funny, when I was working on Obi-Wan, I was talking with some of the guys from Legacy that did the Frick character with the little thing. Anyway, and I was we were sitting on the back of that transport, and I was telling somebody like, oh yeah, and I saw the Grogu with the eyebrows. It was so amazing. It's incredible. And whoever I was talking to at the time, and now I wish I could remember, said, you know what? I was doing the eyebrows on that episode. I'm like, you're the guy I've been telling everybody about. You're so good. So it was, you get to, they're amazing. They're amazing.
Well, and from what I heard, they just mess with people because they're sitting off there with a remote control and just move it just when you're not on camera. It's just like, oh, just keep the illusion real.
I don't know. He was stunned, so he was doing a pretty good job being stunned, except for when you looked at him and his face was freaking, like, oh, amazing.
It was method acting.
Yes,
it really was.
So we have a question over here from the Instagram. Is Hunter Reed is what's one of your favorite moments that you've had while filming?
There's been a lot of great stuff, and it's not always stuff that I'm filming. It might be the stuff that I'm standing in, setting up the shot or whatever, and then I get to watch the shot. And I mean, there was a time when we were lining up the shot in Obi-Wan where Obi force pushes the third sister, and she slides across the ground. And so the stunt actress was there, and I was lining up the shot, and so I did the force push, and then they pulled on her, and she went flying. And I'm like, I just seriously force pushed somebody. It was because by the you look, I don't know. I mean, I know it was It was the closest thing that was ever going to come to that. It was just, that was kind of fun.
So let's jump into that. So obviously, those who know you, you're obviously the Obi-Wan who was riding the EOP at the end of the series. But when you found out that you were going to be doubling for Ewan as freaking Obi-Wan Kenobi, probably one of the best Jedis ever,
Yeah.
your fanboy radar must have been like blinking like crazy.
Well, it's funny. I'm a I'm sorry. I'm a Star Wars, original sequel. I grew up with that.
Yeah.
I was a little bit older when the prequels came out. But at the time, Ewan was the best thing for me in that whole thing. I've come to appreciate the prequels. But they weren't my Star Wars, my Star Wars is that original Star Wars. I don't even remember what the question was. What's the question? Weird.
Oh, how did you feel when you found out?
Being Obi-Wan. Okay. Right. So yeah. Finding out that, because I'd actually never grown a beard before, and I got the call, hey, can you grow a beard? We got a project for you. I'm like, yeah, I can grow a beard. Of course I can grow a beard. How hard is it to grow a beard? I mean, it could have come out like this. I don't know what it could have come out like, but luckily it came in. But seriously, for all through the camera tests, I would work like a couple days a week during the camera tests to line up, check out what kind of lenses they're going to use or different colors or whatever. And every day it's like, am I doing this? I'm still doing this, right? Mm-hmm. Like I'm coming back the next day. Okay. And so it was funny because I was also still doing Boba Fett when I was doing the camera tests for Obi-Wan. And I remember sitting there with the other Tuscans and I'm like, I think I just booked a really big gig. But I don't know. I don't want to say anything about it. So yeah, for the first month, I didn't figure that out. But then, I mean, it was amazing. Yeah, I love to put on the costumes anyway. Well, as a kid, I always loved to put on costumes, but to put on the Obi-Wan costumes I loved it. I loved every one of them.
I think that's my favorite insight yet. That's what the Tuscans talk about around the campfire. Is hey,
dude, I think I just booked a big job, and
exactly. It's like, hey,
here, Ahsoka.
I think my next gig is
what are you working on that?
Freaking Obi-Wan Kenobi. So
it was amazing. Yeah.
Well, we talked about your entrance into Star Wars kind of really being the original action figures. What was the moment? We actually mentioned this, I think, last week when we were talking about having you on this show. What was the moment? Have you had the moment when you see basically yourself as an action figure? Because we really had this discussion, and like I brought it out right here for this, is the Obi-Wan figure looks more like you than Ewan.
Well,
there's Ewan, there's the figure. So
this is what I have as my show and tell. So back in the day, Burger King had how do you help do this thing? Anyway, you look through it somehow. Yeah. Burger King had this thing for the prequels. And I mean, I think this one.
I think so.
Is very close.
Oh, wow.
Yes, that really is.
But it's just, hey, it happens. Sometimes you get that gene. I don't know. I'm not even Scottish. I don't know.
But you must be jazzed. I mean, obviously being a child of the 80s and having the Star Wars figures that not just characters that you've also originated, Like, for example, we'll talk a little bit about Ahsoka. They obviously have the zombie trooper Proulx on there, but there's action figures of the character you played. So basically, you kind of have your own action figure. That must be kind of cool.
It's weird. It's kind of like I'm playing with myself as little figures,
Right.
and that's how it came out, right?
That
Yeah, and
exactly. We that's exactly the way it went. Mike
This
Proulx.
show's off to a great part. Sorry already.
But I really am. You can use that for the
Yeah.
for the trailer.
Mark
Right.
here.
So what? Oh, so I bring these guys. The guy that I have my 78 Kenners, and I bring them to set. Like I brought my Obi-Wan and I know it's Alec Guinness. I brought the Obi-Wan and I brought my Darth Vader, and I put them on the Baron Moon set where they fight their final fight. And I have a picture of them there. Actually, I think they probably have one. I think
Technically, you now have screen used.
Well, I don't know. Anyway, those are mine. I played with them. The things are falling apart because they're well loved, but I don't know.
So I would have to say is that honestly, I mean, I loved Obi-Wan Kenobi. I thought it was a great show to add a lot of context to everything, and being able to see obviously Ewan and Bonnie and Joel coming back to do their characters, but also bring in characters from the Clone Wars and Rebels, like the Inquisitors and all that. I would say that last battle scene, that lightsaber battle between Obi-Wan and Vader, was probably my favorite scene in the entire show.
Yeah, that was great to watch Tom and Ewan, Tom O'Connell, Vader's, watching them. I mean, it was just like, it was a great little set because it was all this gray, big foam rocks and things, and but yeah, that was a great fight scene, especially at the end when he comes across
and I love what they're doing now with like the kind of practical lit sabers that you get the lighting of that you didn't really get before.
That's one of the things that we were doing the camera tests. One of the first camera tests that I did was I grabbed it was just a light stick, but they put on the Obi-Wan blue light, and they had the Darth Vader red, and we were holding these lights against each other and watching how they curved in Vader's mask, and it was amazing.
So were you making the noises like everybody else does when you lightsaber?
You have to. You have to. I mean, you can't not. You really can't.
It's like you have a blaster and you have to go pew pew, which is you have to do it. I mean,
that's the disappointing thing about blasters, is that they don't do anything. Most of the time, they don't do anything. Right. I mean, every once in a while, you might get one of those good old ones that is, it's a heavy one, and it has a working trigger that actually makes a flash. Every once in a while, you might get one of those, but usually they're rubber, and the triggers don't move. They don't really shoot a laser blast. It's very not fun.
For Obi-Wan, did you double for anything else? Like, were you like involved in the Order 66 scenes at all, or are you just working as Obi-Wan?
No, the only other work I did on that was as a stormtrooper during one of the Inquisitor scenes. It was the only bad guy scene I had any privy into, since I had to watch the show because I had no idea what was going on. If it wasn't Obi-Wan, I have no idea what was going on. Well, like the first week was all little Leia shot up in the mountains over by LA. So I didn't have anything to do with that. I had a week off before I had to come in and do the whale blubber scene.
Ah, yes.
Oh, yeah.
That was a great one. So we're about that time right now that we're going to be ready to watch the episode. I just want to make sure, do you have it all queued up on your end?
I have it here. I'm just trying to get it here. Oh, that's what happened. Okay. I might be able to. Hold on a second for a minute.
Oh yeah.
It would be better to do
Not a
this.
problem at all. But while we're waiting for Warren to get that, while we're waiting for Warren to queue up, don't forget, everybody, that we made some incredible announcements last night as part of our Not So Virtual Cantina Japan event. We announced our guests, which we're very excited about. Some really great guests. A couple of people that Warren worked with, like Bradley and Christine Galley, and our good friend Marty Matulis.
Yeah, and it is like, as we announced as well, it's not too late to get in on that fun, because for the Not So Virtual Cantina, you can purchase, or you will be able to purchase there, the hyperspace ticket, right? So you can still come out, you can line up, or a little bit early before the event starts, and as one person comes out, you can come in, and you can get in on all the fun and meet and greets and shenanigans that way.
Absolutely.
All righty.
All set?
Excellent.
All right.
So let us get ready for the countdown.
Here we go.
Here we go. And there we go. Just don't skip anything. Watch all the previews and all the things.
Okay.
So, Warren, what did you think of Andor when you watched it the first time?
I'm going to be honest. I felt the exact same way as I felt when I was watching Rogue One. I remember thinking this. Now, Rogue One, I remember watching the very beginning and going, who are these people? Like, I don't know who any of these people are. But by the end of the movie, I'm like, that was a great freaking movie.
Yeah.
So, Andor, again, I was kind of like, wait a minute, who are these people again? And like, oh. And then it got really good.
Yeah, it really did do a lot of heavy lifting in the beginning, introducing just a whole brand new cast of characters that have become absolutely huge at this point. Luthen, I think, was an absolute standout, and you're like, what the heck is this dude doing?
Right.
I mean, I thought like, to me, it was like an adult Star Wars, because we've had the kiddie. This is more, dirty, gritty. Obviously they cursed in it. But I thought it was like,
they started in a brothel.
I believe there was even some canoodling going on in some of those one of those episodes, at least.
Yes, there's space underwear, which Carrie would not have been happy about that one.
I think they proved that there is underwear in space.
Yes, but the fact is, I mean, to me, it was like, as someone who went to school for theater, I love the storytelling. I love the slow burn that I actually got to know the characters, almost intimately, and see their plights and what each character's their motivation was. To by the end, you're like, oh wow, like this whole everything's intertwined, and you don't even realize it the entire time.
Right. Yeah. No, it's good writing.
Now, what's going to be interesting, I think, with season 2 is that they said that Rogue One ends 10 minutes before A New Hope starts. Mm-hmm. So you see Leia's on a Tantive 4. They're going off before the blockade. And when I'm watching Rogue One, I'm like, I get to that scene. I'm like, so I'm going to take a 5-minute break, and then I have to watch episode 4 because I'm like, I can't stop now. Diego Luna's been on record to say that this season ends 10 minutes before his entrance into Rogue One. So you probably
wow.
have 2 hours afterwards. I'm like, no. You need 4 hours after you finish the series because you're going to be wanting to go watch through
Right.
episode 4 again.
Right. Wow. Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah, we're in the thing again where we're seeing, this space apartment, Star Wars, like, regular.
And
You know,
I mean,
I thought,
she's just busting his balls.
Exactly.
like, what's with the stereotype of Jewish mother that we got going on over here?
I mean, I didn't want to say it, but
You-
since
you
you brought
tell
it up,
us,
Spencer,
Man.
You tell us.
But yeah,
Yeah.
he's eating his Cocoa Puffs and blue milk,
yeah,
getting
right.
berated by his mother, for losing his job. That she has to call someone in the
It's got a
family.
collar. I don't like your collar. It's too high.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Man,
This actress needs to start doing the circuit. We want to see her.
Well, the thing is that with her, you could also get her like she was in Harry Potter. So if you're a Potter fan, she was Mrs. Fig. She was a squid that lived across the street.
Nice.
See, I did not know that.
I don't think
There was a lot. And also, Fiona Shaw, who's big in Andor as well. That was Petunia Dursley. So you got a couple of Potter people in there.
Uh-oh. Wait, am I ahead or am I right on? What's
We're
going on?
somewhere around 4 minutes and 35.6. That counter is approximate.
I'm at about 4 something. Yeah, okay. Oh, there's all these people in the uniform.
Yeah, they're just getting the uniform and they're in like the white conference room, and now they're walking around.
Oh, nice pants. God, that makes their ass look gigantic.
So I'm going to be very interested because they announced that Ben Mendelsohn is back as Director Krennic for season 2. I want to see how Deidre matches up against Krennic because that's going to be a battle of wits between the two of them.
Yeah, that's going to be good.
Either they're going to get along very well, or it's going to be a train wreck.
I don't know. It seems like they're. I don't know. They're setting something up.
Yeah, and it's just like, yes, I have to stand exactly in front of the Imperial cog, and the backdrop is just got to.
There we go. Yeah.
Like, where did they find this place to use for this conference room? I mean,
It's got to be the volume at Pinewood.
You would think.
Maybe the volume over in Europe, it was definitely not.
Pinewood.
It was not
Pinewood, yeah. Pinewood Studios.
Pinewood.
Yeah.
So,
but
what was it like?
Go ahead.
I was going to say, what was it like for the first time you stepped on the volume? Like, how did that mess with you?
It's funny because I was going to tell the story because the first time I was on the volume was the scene when Mando and Bill Burr drive back in, and we're in the base, and we're all milling about, and we're congratulating it. Hey, good job. And then they go into the canteen or whatever they go into to have lunch or whatever they're doing. So I didn't realize that I was on the volume. I walked in because they've got all the set deck out there, and I mean, there were boxes. It looked like I was in a big warehouse. And I'm sitting up, I'm leaning up against the wall and looking at the stuff. There's a little window up there. I'm looking at this giant tubing coming out and going down the wall. And then I get to a certain point where I was like, that's not real. And I look again, I'm like, looks real. Like it's 3-dimensional. But as it goes down, it's not real anymore. So then I realized I was on the volume. I mean, I felt I was in a big building with little windows to the outside.
And that was
like, how big is the actual inside a part of the volume? Is it a basketball court? Is it smaller? Is it bigger? Is it?
I'd say maybe half a basketball court ish. I'm trying to. I mean, it's maybe like How much is a basketball? What is that, like 35 feet or something like that? I don't know what a basketball court is.
Yeah.
It's not meters, I'll tell you that much. That's what it is. It's American basketball.
That's right.
So that was actually a really great scene in Mandalorian. We talk about that scene quite often of how like them cheering and cahoodling and getting excited, and it was like, but in our mind, those are the bad guys. But in their mind, they're doing the work.
Hey, you just did it. You're like the first ones who could ever make it past those assholes with the bombs and the spears.
Yeah, you gotta cheer for them. I mean, you've got to go. It's great. It's a great juxtaposition where it's like, oh, you're cheering for the bad guys now. It's the same.
It's kind of weird.
Well, it's the same thing that you kind of did again on Boba Fett, where we're seeing the humanizing of the Tusken Raiders. They're not just sand people anymore. We got a big humanizing and making them into.
Yeah, it really went woke. It really did.
Yeah, but in the best of ways, really, in that case,
we've learned that they're not these savages.
Yes.
They are actually, they have a whole language and you know, like the lizard, you know, gosh, what's the word I'm looking for?
Dewbacks?
Event, like a religious event.
Okay.
Like they've got.
Right, like they had ceremonies and stuff, and I think the Obi-Wan novel even kind of went further into that when they're talking about his first time on Tatooine, and but yeah, it's a great little backstory and characters that are just, you know, shooting people from the rocks in DOT.
Right.
So obviously, you know, you broke in the business back in the 90s, and how funny was it that eventually one of your bosses ended up being Gutter from PCU?
You know, back in the 90s, you could only you really you could only dream of such things. And sometimes dreams come true. So there's that.
Yes.
Yeah. No, it was.
I mean, obviously,
set wearing the band T-shirt.
Oh,
yes. Don't be that guy. Don't be that guy.
Be that guy.
No, but if, I mean, we look at it like this, like, you know, obviously Jon Favreau kicked off the MCU with Iron Man. He saved Christmas with Elf, had one of the most magical movies for Christmas of all time. Then he started doing other stuff with the Lion King and stuff. So you started working with
with the volume. I mean, he basically is the father of the volume, right?
Yeah.
Working with the Jungle Book and all that kind of stuff.
And then some people say that, with help of obviously with Dave Filoni, saved Star Wars in itself.
I'll tell you what. I love this part over here. These freaking dudes, just like a million people working in these little cubicles.
Well, this, I think, sets the stage for like the vast bureaucracy that everybody's in AT-AT and Skeleton Crew.
Yeah. Although, you know what? His mother was right. That is a kind of high collar. So I do see that now. Okay. What were we talking about? Oh, shit.
Oh, it's about Dave and John.
Dave and John.
Oh, so yeah, no, I mean, I'm almost embarrassed to say that one time on Book of Boba Fett, we had just wrapped for the day, and I just happened to be walking with him towards his car. He parked a lot closer than I did, so I had to walk. But I turned to him, I'm like, you know what? Swingers was such a great movie, and it just came out at a great time. Of all the things I could talk to him about, I'm like, Swingers was such a great movie. Yes. It really caught the whole, 90s feel. I don't know. But then the next time, well, before that, the first time I had seen him with him and Dave was when I was getting my whole job that day was to fit model the oh, here we go, stormtroopers. First time
Yep.
we see him.
And our good friend Samantha Aileen was one of them.
Boom, boom.
And these are obviously all in England, but a lot of the big bridge that was for the ISB was actually filmed in Canary Wharf, right by the tube stop that they filmed Rogue One in, but also down the street from where we ran our event at Celebration in 22.
Oh,
Well, yeah, it makes sense that it would be similar. It's the same universe. It all takes place in Canary Wharf. That is where the Andor universe exists.
nice pun.
But yeah, no, I mean, it's amazing what they have done, especially, obviously, John's had this prolific career as an actor, producer, director, and then you got Dave.
We get the guy who's falling asleep over here. He's all sloppy. He's like, yes, ma'am. I'm yes, ready. What are we doing?
Oh, awesome. And you got Dave, who's basically like the Padawan learner from George Lucas.
Dave's just got a ton of shit. So my job was to model the artillery trooper costume to get signed off.
Mm-hmm.
So they were filming something at the time in whatever stage they were in. So I was in my stormtrooper, the yellow and all that, and my job was just to walk up there and get viewed. And as I'm walking up to them, I could not stop singing or humming the Imperial March. And I'm like, this is I seriously, I'm just in my head. I'm like, dun, 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 dun. And then they're all like looking at it and they're like, oh, great. I get it signed off and I walk back and yeah, it's every once in a while you get these stupid little events that you have that are just fun. They're
It's that, oh my God, I'm in the Star Wars.
Yeah.
That is pretty cool.
And you've worn some great costumes, especially within the Mandoverse, designed by the late great Shauna Trupic.
She was great.
She was such a talent.
She was so great. She was such a nice person too. Just oh man, yeah.
I was so happy that she won the award for Ahsoka.
Yeah. I knew her more with Obi-Wan, but yeah, it was good that she won.
So I'm over here looking like on your IMDb, and you just have stuff that is out of left field here and there. How do you get cast as Oprah's golf cart driver on
That's a good question.
Exactly.
You need to have a picture of you in a tuxedo. And I was the first one that got it there or something. No, I don't know. I had to look, I guess. I don't know. But that was such a great gig. We were shooting in Malibu at the time. And my call was like 5 p.m. or something. And they were shooting into the night. And so, I get there and my job is to drive a golf cart. Oh, you could drive a golf cart? Yeah, sure I could. But one of those like 4-person golf carts, like the big golf carts. Not only that, I'm driving it up a hill. Not only that, Sofia Vergara is next to me and Jesse Tyler Ferguson's behind me. Not only that, there's a camera on a car in front of me.
Right.
So I'm just like, I hope I don't kill any of these people. I'm driving around going, but eventually, so eventually I ended up realizing, okay, I can let me kind of go with this and be the smarmy, guy, like ha ha.
Yeah.
But that was a fun gig. That was a really fun gig. This little droid
Oh yeah.
is the saddest droid in the Star Wars universe.
Well, he's B2 emo, so that should tell you exactly everything you need to know right there.
He reminds me of that other Disney property, The Black Hole. I don't know if anyone has seen it. I'm probably sure I saw that in the theater.
Oh yeah.
And they've got that beat up old little robot. I mean, that's the saddest robot since Marvin the Paranoid Android from Dr. Demento, if anyone is that old.
Oh, I know that.
I mean, that is a depressing robot.
Yeah. I mean, that's just his lot in life is just to like sit around and be like, I mean, it's like a mop bucket sitting in a corner. Just like, that's what I'm gonna do.
Yeah, this is a tough part here. Where are we going to go?
Yeah. The droid is just like, oh, take what? Man, hear me.
Sorry.
I loved also finding out more about obviously casting, because when we first see him, he has a first scene where he shoots the informant who had an issue with his arm, and he's being chased by the stormtroopers, and literally in the first scene of the movie, to saying, I've done terrible things, I've been in this fight since I was 6 years old. And then we go back to actually see how he, like, from a primitive,
Right.
he's Mowgli, for lack of a better word.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, the droid's just like reversing. Yeah, there we go. And then you get the stark contrast immediately from Andor and his family place, and then we're in the senatorial Mon Mothma's quarters and fancy pants.
Yeah, you got the what's that? What was that robot? The Sony robot or whatever, Amiibo or whatever. I don't remember what it was called.
Oh, what's the? I know what you're. Osimo?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, they had that Osimo looking MF over there before. You have to rewind it. It'll be worth it. Trust me.
Nice.
Yeah, this is see this. Yeah, here's where she starts making a deal with the devil.
Well, that's one thing that I'm really intrigued to see, because if you watch the trailer for season 2, you see the wedding of basically the wedding of her daughter, and she's crying while she's dancing. Like, she knows she stole her daughter out in rebellion.
Yeah. So there you go. Maybe the Empire is right.
And her husband's just such a prick. Like, here's the character I hate the most in this season.
Hey, what's up, guys?
It's like Pony Knob. It just right there. That just tells you all you need to know. Like, no, dude.
He's got the fucking man bun on the thing. Love it. Oh, you remember my daughter.
Yeah, but the amount of like design work that goes into this is just making these very opulent, like angled doorways and bright golden this and that for something that appears like it's just this kind of quick passing throwaway scene or whatever, but it's just like, no, they had to do some major crazy work on stuff like this.
I mean, some of this. Because in the volume, you've got all the wall over here, but then you've got a whole section over here where you have to build the practical stuff.
Yeah.
And so that's where it kind of just flows in and out, because you've got your practical set, and then you've got your virtual set, and they just put it a little out of focus, and it looks like you're in a completely different place. There's
What-
Asimov.
Yeah, I saw it right there. It popped up again.
One thing I love about like not only this show, but you got a legacy character like Mon Mothma, who all of us know about, from the Battle of Endor in episode 6, and we've got and you got Carolyn Blessed, who was incredible, obviously in the original, but you got Genevieve O'Reilly, who is such
Great.
an incredible actress, who jumped in like incredibly.
Yeah. Ooh.
Yes,
I mean,
it's like that the whole time. Yes, you're right. You just want to like shake your head like, "Whoa, fans of Great Pong."
yeah,
The lesson, I think, the entire lesson of Star Wars. Everybody's like, "Well, there's no politics in Star Wars." No, the entire lesson of Star Wars is politics is evil. Is like anyone in
rid of all the politicians and replace them all with businessmen. Oh no, 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 no.
Awkward.
Yes.
It's funny.
Politicians like Mon Mothma. What a wonderful politician.
But then you got her husband. It's like you're looking at his hair. We were talking about a second ago. It's like you sit down in the chair. Will make me look like a complete douchebag. Oh, okay, that will give you the bun.
How do we do that? Oh, we'll give him like the Steven Seagal pony knob, but instead of at the base of his neck, we'll put it up here.
Oh man, brilliant work, actually.
It really is. It's just like, how can we make someone look douchier? Oh, that.
I like the composition of this scene.
Yeah.
And so much of this it's a lot of it is like they say that slow burn. But you're seeing it's just over the shoulder shot, back over the shoulder shot, back over the shoulder shot, talk, conversate.
Yeah, but they're doing it with their eyes. They're like,
yeah, exactly. You're like, what he's doing right now, he's just shifting his eyes like he's thinking from away from her to back towards her, and just
when you've got a camera that's right there, then just doing little tiny motions with your eyes looks huge.
It's like making little tiny remote control movements on a passed out Grogu.
Even though it's passed out.
Yeah.
It's still friggin' moving around.
He's dreaming. He's having dreams.
The thing was dreaming. It really was.
I also love the fact is that they're trying to make a conversation as a normal conversation, but their subliminal messaging is completely different. So everybody's looking around and not getting any like suspicion of anything going on.
Yeah. Excuse me, I have to go put on my Tommy Bahama.
I've always loved Coruscant, and I love that we got to see so much more of it, in this show, and also Mandalorian season 3, and so one of my
junkyard.
One of my favorite, characters that you played, obviously, besides playing with Obi-Wan, was actually the stormtroopers in Ahsoka, and especially we finally got zombie stormtroopers. That must have been so much fun.
We still don't freaking know why we have zombie stormtroopers. That's the big question.
Are you kidding me? I had someone make this for me from where was it? Order 66 Toys, maybe.
Oh yeah, in Texas.
Yeah, Texas. Yeah. I had to let them know about the butt plate was actually gray, as well as the detonator. Anywho, the zombie, a little bit of space magic. Why not, man? So we got the Force, so let's do some other kind of space magic. Why not?
Well, I mean, that's the whole episodes of another of our shows on the network, The Unifying Force, where we talk about things like that as other iterations of the Force and what's out there. It's like, is Night Sister magic? Is it the Force? Is it both? Is the Force magic? Who knows?
Maybe the Force is just maybe it's like science on Asgard.
Well, it could be that too. That's the truth here on this planet is what was science. Science was magic until somebody figured it out and explained it. It's like,
And
oh,
now
well,
it's
that's
magic again. So we come full circle. Look at this part. Wow. That is a lot of, oh man, she looks, I hate to see the other.
One thing I loved about, especially like the troopers or anything involving Thrawn, like the Chimera, was the use of the Japanese kanji of
Yeah, that was great.
that like was very, very cool that you got to see that, like even in your outfits you got to see
that was really cool. That
suits they were put back together with the gold inlays and everything.
That you take something broken, but you put it back together and you make it more valuable by adding gold.
Yeah, without hiding the brokenness, you're showcasing the brokenness as opposed to hiding it.
Which is what was awesome on these. You've got these primed parts. You've got parts that were blown off, so and then they use the same technique to give it this, like broken but new kind of thing. And then that beautiful dark red of the fabric was, everything was great on that.
Definitely a fun show.
Yeah, and I loved all the little gold. I mean, they put a lot of work into getting those lines in there and then filling them in, and it was great.
I love the fact we also got introduced to a new galaxy that was not known. So something different. But at the end of the day, we found out that we're on the voyage to Mortis. So it was just like, wait a minute, it's something we already know. Like, this is not new. This has been planned. Dave said something.
That's what I like. How they're a couple steps ahead. They're setting it up. And go ahead. What was Dave saying?
Well, that's a whole thing. It's just
Dave
this
said
giant circle with Filoni that's just. Yeah. It's like I set this thing up in the Clone Wars like 10 years ago.
But also the thing was that he said at Celebration 22, Christina Ariels asked him on stage, "Where is Ezra Bridger?"
Stormtroopers, what?
Yes, Stormtroopers.
And he said, far, far away.
Far, far away.
And that was the name of the episode where we finally see
far,
Ezra.
far away. Yeah, that's right. That's true.
So he actually gave that. He said he's far, far away, and that was the name of the episode. So it's like, wow.
Yes.
Look at these guys are clones.
Yeah, I love how they kind of they can show time periods by the change in the trooper armor. It's like, oh, is that a version beyond the clone trooper armor? Is that this original stormtrooper armor? Where are we in time?
But let's talk about that. Like in that scene in Obi-Wan Kenobi where Obi-Wan runs into, obviously it's Tamora.
Oh, man.
A work clone trooper.
Yeah, I thought that was great. It's showing the Empire forgetting about these. They used these clones, they created these things, and then they're like, whatever, just
right.
Yeah. And then you've got these guys, and he's old, and he's got the beard, and he's looking for a hot meal, and spare some credits for Richard. It was super fun to see. Well, because Book of Boba Fett was just winding down, so he had just come off of Book of Boba Fett.
See, this is another favorite part of this whole thing right here, is how Cassian is reluctant and opposed to the rebellion and not even wanting any part of it. And then you see who he becomes and where he is by the time you get out of this in Rogue One. And we'll see a lot more of that, I guess, in season 2. Is just why you're embedded in the rebellion.
If you were in this time, Warren, would you want to be with the Empire or with the Republic?
Oh, we've lost Lauren. He's got your internet apparently tonight.
I guess he does. Must mean invasion.
Yeah. But I mean, oh, there we go.
What happened?
Right back.
And that was the end of the story. And I was like, no way. Are you kidding me? Of talking with Sir Alec Guinness.
So at this time, would you want to be part of the Empire or part of the Republic?
Rebellion.
Rebellion. Well,
I mean, what was the question?
At this time in the, if you were in
this time in Andor.
Yeah.
I'd like to think I'd be with the rebels, but you never know.
Right.
It's easy to get swept up, evidently, in the moment. This was a great part. Oh yeah, wait, when is she? Was it the next episode where she does her big speech and all that?
She does. I think the big speech she does is actually in the final episode called Rick's Road.
That's the one. Oh man!
Throw the
but we're not talking about that one. We're not talking about that one. We're talking about this one.
Yeah. But this is still a big thing, and even there's so many big speeches in this. There's the big Luthen speech. There's her big speech. There's this speech, and even you get more insight into these people as to how much they treat even this droid that is such limited and not humanoid at all. Is it's a person to them. You know how the Empire treats them as nothing. The Empire treats people as nothing, like stormtroopers and clone troopers. Is they don't even treat people like people, but the good guys just treat their droids like people, except for the original trilogy, which is just the Skywalker family bullying C-3PO. But
that was in the sequel trilogy as well. Poe Dameron was brutal to 3PO.
Oh, to BB-8. Yeah.
He loved BB-8. He
BB-8's his best friend.
Man. This is tough.
It's just tough. Here's another meeting that could have been a space email. Just sitting around like that.
Where are you? Dun dun dun. Oh shit!
He just said,
but yeah, like
packing.
He just said, "As you wish." Is he telling you that he loved him? No. Okay.
How do you feel, Warren, about a lot of members of the group or people who've been on this show here, and criticisms about Andor is the lack of it feeling Star Warsy because of the lack of like aliens that you see in the series? Does that take you out of it, put you into it?
Not at all. I mean, it's got the Empire symbol. It's got those cool looking people in the outfits. Not at all. I don't see that. I mean, there were a couple different looking people in at that party with Mon Mothma.
Oh, and then there you go. It skips like, oh well, it's not the Star Wars because it's not so much the pew pew.
Well, you know what? It's got this thing with these little got the little freaking blue things. You got the thing. You got the little pens in the thing that are. I mean, come on, Star Wars.
Yeah, it's
It's
got
the other,
all the
it's
pieces
the other
and parts.
side. It's the other side of Star Wars that we.
Yeah.
Well,
Severe
and
crap.
Skip, you've seen the trailer for season 2. There's going to be a lot more pew pew. It looks like a lot more of the pew pew.
Well, this was a slow burn. This one.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, completely. I love that though. That was one of the, like I said, I love this show. Honestly, I thought this was, out of all the Disney Plus shows, this was my favorite as a character piece study. Like I was actually, this was like enthralling. That's I didn't enjoy. I enjoyed all of them. But to me, like I said, being trained in theater, I was like, this is meaty. Like they had some great monologues, like Skarsgård and Andy Serkis, incredible monologues.
Yeah. Definitely.
Like if Star Wars ever goes to be nominated for like an Emmy or a Golden Globe, it would have been them.
This
Like
one.
that's how I felt.
Hmm. Interesting choice of words.
Yes.
And I love the fact that Tony Gilroy was involved with this as he was involved with Rogue One as well. So had the continuity. Speaking of Tony, like people like Tony Gilroy, you worked with a lot of incredible directors in Star Wars, from obviously Dave and John and Bryce and Rob Rodriguez and Rick. What did you feel that you learned from the different actors, like as you're honing your own craft?
What did I learn from the different directors?
Yes.
I mean, it's interesting because you've got most of them are a lot more what's the word, encouraging of your roles. But everyone there, they're all fans, and so there's something exciting about that.
Speaking of the space hanky panky, here we go.
Well,
here we go.
Now we're in Space Miami.
Yes.
Is Sully? I don't know. It's like Andor beyond Mando. Ooh, that's a big swing right there. Saying that, I mean,
Mando was, so I'm a original trilogy, but I was getting kind of distanced from Star Wars for a while until Mando season 1. And then I watched it and I was like, that is the Star Wars that I remember.
It really is.
What I look at is that it's gone from, in different phases. Like, for example, that after the prequels, there was obviously a lot of hate in Star Wars, especially around Jar Jar, or it's not my Star Wars, which was like our generation rebelling against the new. And that lasted for about 16 years or so until
it was a good amount of time.
Yeah, until we got more things. And then we got, obviously the sequel trilogy, and then people were like, okay, cool, whatever. But Mandalorian,
there's an alien right there.
Yeah, there's a few aliens in Space Miami.
But I thought Mando, at least season 1, was universally bringing the fandom back to status quo back together,
No.
that we can still enjoy Star Wars again.
Yes.
I think Mando was far more, season 1 especially, was far more of a unifying feeling in Star Wars. Is the fan bases in general, I think, all found something to like about that, where this is kind of, this is good, and people that love it, but people that hate it. It is still kind of divisive a little bit.
Oh, this is a tough scene. Man, I'm not even doing anything. Oh, short trooper.
Uh-oh.
I know they have a meetup here with some of the actors. They do signings on the beach there.
Oh,
Still.
wow. That'd be fun. Wow.
Yeah, and here you see the K2 droid just dragging people up.
Yep.
We were all like, "Oh my God, is that K2?" Oh no, it's just another.
No.
Just a different one.
I'm excited to find out how they reprogram K2 in the next season with Alan Tudyk coming back.
There we go.
Oh, I'm not resisting. No.
Oh, man.
Uh-oh.
Ugh.
Seems like an old thing to have a fan.
There you go.
Oh, man.
Now we get space stenographer.
Yeah.
It's like all the little weirdnesses and things.
And it looks like like one of those old credit card machines from back in the 80s.
Yeah.
Yep. That's exactly what that looks like. I don't know. The fan kind of.
I was just going to 7-Eleven to get a drink. Like, I didn't do anything.
Yeah, it's like that's the irony here. All the things that he does and he's been doing that are like,
Shooting people.
He's just walking down the beach to
It's like Al Capone.
Yeah. And he gets
exactly.
and imprisoned for nothing.
Take it up with the Emperor.
Yeah, and here's the mindless monotony of sitting in my little lit cubicle, twisting a little knob, reading a little.
Yeah, but at least he's not hanging out with that mother is.
Well, there you go. It gets me out of the house. I get out of the house to go sit in the cubicle, and it's
wow. Look at those cubicles. That was a lot of freaking cubicles.
Yes.
Oh shit! That was it. Can we watch another one?
What a fantastic episode.
Well, that's going to be the thing, though, the way they're going to drop the new season.
I was just getting excited about this.
Well, yeah, but they're going to drop 3 at a time on us?
That's
on the next one?
That's crazy talk.
Oof.
I thought
that's
two
Daredevils. A lot of
Andor
watching.
Like we're going to be doing this, and because they're only doing over 4 weeks, and it's supposed to be every 3 episodes is another year before.
Oh, whoa. Yeah. Wow.
So it's 4 arcs.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting. That's going to be fun. It's going to be good stuff.
And, I love the fact, obviously, you saw the Forrest Whitaker's back, you saw Guerrera, you got Ben Mendelsohn back, you got K2, will we see the Emperor, or will we see, some characters we might know showing up? I think the opportunity is endless.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, maybe we'll see Tarkin again. We saw him in Rogue One, why not? Guy Henry was a great Tarkin for that. But once again, Warren, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you for having me.
You come in, actually watch Star Wars, tell some stories, but actually watch it as a fan of someone who's not in that property, could say, as a fan, I enjoyed this. For
Oh
whatever
yeah,
reasons.
no. I mean, Andor is top notch.
I mean, I think that's one of the things that I love about meeting and being on the shows with the cast of the new Star Wars. Is how much of a fan all of you guys are. We have met very, very few people who are just this is my job. No, everybody's like, no, this is Star Wars and I love it, and that's why it is my job.
Yeah, no, I guess I could see it. Yeah, no, because I was a 45-minute drive in the morning to work from where I live to where we were shooting, but I would put on some Star Wars music, and of course at that time there's not a whole lot of traffic in LA, but I mean it was a pleasure driving 45 minutes every day. And then an hour and a half back or whatever it was going to be coming back. Yeah. No,
What do you know about the time today, meaning being where we are in the fandom, is back when we were kids, when you looked at the holy trinity of Harrison, Mark, and Carrie, they were unreachable, untouchable. We could barely talk to them, anything. But now,
I mean, Corvette Summer just launched. He was just like,
you should have been on the watch along for that when we watched.
We did.
You guys had a watch along of Corvette Summer?
Yes.
Yes. We did a whole session of movies that we're thankful for, and they were all Star Wars adjacent. So we did Corvette Summer, and we did Batman '89 for Billy D. And then we watched Under the Rainbow, which had a lot of the Ewoks, and Carrie was involved in that. And we in the off season we watch movies that are somewhat Star Wars adjacent, but by
fun. I like it.
Right. But what I was getting to is that as a fan, Star Wars actors were unreachable, unattainable, unable to have a conversation to talk to. And what has been so great about the Disney Plus shows, and also the convention scene that's blowing up, is meeting actors like you who make us feel like we're one step away from being in Star Wars, because you guys are fans first, and you have to get the golden ticket to be in the wars, and we're all like, we get to talk to them, hang out with them, break bread, and geek out with them. And want to thank you so much for being part of this universe and being so fun to chat with. When I met you up in New Hampshire, it was great to chat with you there, and then obviously having you at Scum, was awesome.
That was
as well.
Great.
And having you sing there with Gerald.
Oh man!
So thank you for being part of Star Wars and making us feel like we're part of it as well.
Oh, I mean, it's amazing, and it's something that you don't think you get to do, and then you do, and then it's amazing. I don't know. It's a lot of fun. But thanks for having me.
Oh, it's absolute pleasure. So if anybody was want to see you, do you have any events coming up that you're doing, any signings or meet and greets?
Great. You know what? So far, just I want to say May 4th, I believe, in Geneva, New York.
Okay.
I'll have to get make sure my website has all the things set up there, because
you're the intergalactic show that's outside Rochester.
That's the one. Yes. That's
okay. Very, very nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you're in upstate New York, please make sure that you head over to go see Warren. And if any fans,
stopping ground.
What was that? Oh yes,
stopping ground.
Yes, absolutely. Warren went to school up in that area. The funny story is that one of my dearest friends from high school, who I was very close with, we were both in percussion and also in the theater together, was one of Warren's frat brothers.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
So actually, while we were at Scum, I actually FaceTimed him. It was the first time they saw each other in 10 years.
Yeah, I hadn't seen. I mean, yeah, no, it was at least that long.
But no, it was an absolute pleasure to see how small this world really is at the same exact time. And I know from our friend Jason is that he's like, I felt like my adolescence through my young adult life was just sitting there in that one screen between you and Warren, just sitting right next to each other.
Yeah,
which was pretty awesome.
That would have been something. Yeah, I forgot that it was that long period of time.
It was pretty incredible. So if any of our fans, besides the fact going to see you in Geneva, New York, what are your socials so people can look and see what you're up to, what you're doing, and so that?
Well, you can find me on Instagram at WRPROULX. WRPROULX. Warren Proulx. I believe there's also warrenproulx.com where hopefully I'll be having more updated events on there. But I think that's about it. I always love getting mail at the PO box. So that's it. I just love hearing from people.
Excellent. That is very
excellent.
Cool.
Once again, Warren, thank you so much for joining us tonight. We greatly do appreciate it. And Dave, what's coming up on the network?
All sorts of things coming up on the network. Is we've got a new episode of the Unifying Force this weekend, and you never know what Kat, Geo, and I are going to get into. And Monday is Clone Wars Revisited. There's a big debate. They got to talk. They just finished watching all of season 1, and now everybody out there that's watching, like, send your email to Virtual Cantina Network at gmail.com and let them know that you want them to watch the micro series next. Damn it, go ahead and take that time to go and see everybody, Mace Windu going ape shit with a lightsaber. That's what we want to see in the watch along for Clone Wars. But we'll see what they come up with and what they decide to do. But yeah, and come out on Tuesdays and join us in the Zoom. Join us live. It's this whole kind of thing. But we'll be talking about Celebration. We'll be talking about Star Wars news. We'll be talking about this episode and things that happened. Is join us there on the network on Tuesday nights on Zoom. We'd love to have you there.
And so first and foremost, want to also thank our sponsors of our event in Japan. Want to thank Hyperspace Props. If you go to hyperspaceprops.com and use the code NSVCSE, you get 10% off your entire purchase, and which stands for Not So Virtual Cantina Special Edition. Get your Sabacc credits, get your different versions of Sabacc, get your cards, get some props for your cosplay. They're top notch. There's the credits that Dave got right there. I actually have a whole set right over here still in my bag.
Holy moly.
Yeah, so it's really top notch stuff over there. And also, make sure you keep an eye on everything going on with the Virtual Cantina as we are on the march. We are under 40 days away from Star Wars Celebration Japan, and we're looking forward to seeing a lot of our members out there and having some fun, with geeking out over in Japan, which is going to be awesome. I'm hoping to find some really unique toys and posters in kanji. The packaging is absolutely fantastic, but the cosplay is going to be ridiculous over there. So, Dave, are you bringing Filoni with you?
Oh no!
Never far away.
He loves his hat. He does love his hat.
So, funny story for you. So, right before our event at Scum, we went up to San Diego Comic-Con.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of days later, someone posted a picture, and they said, "I am 99% sure this is Dave Filoni at San Diego Airport." And Dave looked at it. He's like, "Oh my God, I was just at, wait, no, that's my daughter. Wait a minute. They actually think that I'm Filoni." It
freaking fooled me for a second. It's like, wait, Dave Filoni was like getting off the plane. Wait,
here's the same shirt that I have too. It's amazing.
Exactly.
No, but it was absolutely great. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us tonight. We will be back next week with episode 8, and our guest is going to actually be Tori Kella from Twin Cities Comics. to talk about how you're going to do Celebration Send It. So if you are not going to Celebration Japan and you want an autograph, Tori will talk to you about how you can get autographs not only for Celebration, but also for our Not So Virtual Cantina. So we're very excited about that. But once again, Warren, thank you so much for joining us this evening.
Thank you. Also, if anyone wants to send me to Japan, I would be happy to go get anyone's autograph.
There you go, right there.
So, throwing it out there.
We'll talk to a guy named Dominic Coates. He'll Dominic.
Man, I don't know if I mean, you got to know people to know people.
Right. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us tonight. We will see you next week. And as from all of us here at the Virtual Cantina Network, may the force be with you.
Oh, yeah, that too. May the force be with you always.
Till the spires? I don't know.
Yes.